Gillette sales unchanged after controversial advert about toxic masculinity, but the company is still calling the ad a success. How would you define an ad campaign that was very expensive? How would you define whether or not that was successful? Well, I would say it resulted in sales of your product going up. Look, when you have ads on these videos, they're not advertising to you to generate a conversation. I mean, nonprofits might be. But you know, when you see a commercial where it's like strawberry yogurt, it's the best yogurt. Yeah, it's because they want you to buy their yogurt. It would not be a successful ad campaign if nobody bought their yogurt. But apparently Gillette has no choice but to claim it was a success because they made an oopsie, to quote PewDiePie. I don't know if PewDiePie talked about Gillette, but we'll call it an oopsie. Gillette's latest advert, calling on men to counter toxic masculinity, might have prompted unprecedented media coverage, but it didn't boost the razor brand sales. In fact, sales following the ad's release campaign remained largely unchanged, revealed John Moeller, chief financial officer at Procter & Gamble, which owns Gillette. Moeller said the figures were in line with pre-campaign levels, which means completely ineffective. My God. But insists that the ad was still a success given its global impact. You mean pissing off dudes? Listen, okay, there are a lot of guys who don't care. There are a lot of guys who do care. What do you expect? All this was a divisive social justice commercial that didn't get you any more sales of your product, pissed off some guys, and didn't affect the other side at all. So let's look at it this way. Are there a group of men who are jumping up and down and cheering, very happy with this ad? No. Are there some men who are rolling their eyes saying, I don't understand why guys are mad at this? Yes. So they're not impacted for the most part. Is there a large group of people who are really angry, men and women alike, mostly men? Yes. So you've succeeded in creating a bunch of angry guys and a bunch of guys who are rolling their eyes, but where's the inverse? Where are the happy dudes jumping up and down screaming, yay, no more toxic masculinity, few and far between. They ain't buying your products, that's for damn sure. The campaign was aired once, the campaign was aired once and has generated significant conversation, which is important and has generated a huge number of impressions. And while sales have not budged since the ad came out on the 13th of January, Moeller added that Gillette's goal of connecting more meaningfully with younger consumer groups has been achieved. No, it hasn't. You just think it has. YouTube is, okay, people make the joke like PewDiePie's fans are 9-year-olds, and the media loves to talk about how YouTube is overwhelmingly young people. I don't know if that's true. I know that my audience is mostly 25 to 34. And then I think the next biggest group is 18 to 24 and then older than 35. And very few young people. But I'll say this. I do not believe that people who are in the early 20s, who are gamers, who are dudes, who probably need to shave, were happy with what you made. In fact, I would argue that most guys probably didn't know or care about the ad campaign. So no, I'm going to go ahead and say you probably didn't do anything other than just create a bunch of angry people. Plain and simple. Early results, when you look at the age group specifics, both internally and externally, reflect that we've accomplished that objective. Yeah, your objective should be to sell products. Man, how is this where we've come to? Where a company that makes face-shaving products is happy that they engaged in an activist campaign. That's not the goal of your company. If I was an investor in Procter & Gamble, I'd probably leave. Because why the hell would I invest in a company who's like, I'll put it this way. In the movie Iron Man, he announces he's no longer going to be making weapons, and then they do that I think his name's Jim Cramer bit in the movie where he's like, this is a weapons company that doesn't make weapons, and he like hits it with a baseball bat or something, and he was like, why would you invest in a weapons company that doesn't make weapons? Okay, seemingly, in a similar vein, why would you invest in a company that's more concerned with generating a conversation than selling a goddamn product? I wouldn't. I'm surprised anybody would at this point. But then again, look, they say there's no such thing as bad PR. There really is. And people like to say that because they typically say it when something seems bad, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But there really is bad press, okay? This could be it. Moeller's comments come after a survey of 2,000 American adults conducted by brand intelligence firm Morning Consult found that 61% of viewers reacted positively to Gillette's ad, which carried the tagline, the best men can be. Meanwhile, 71% said they shared the brand's values after watching it. The data led Morning Consult to conclude the backlash to the ad had been overstated. The short film, which aired exclusively online, addressed a number of topical issues, such as sexual harassment and mansplaining, in a bid to combat some of the negative stereotypes attached to masculinity. No, I'll make something clear for you. When you do a survey of people, I would agree with the message presented by Gillette. Absolutely, toxic masculinity is a bad thing. I'm not concerned about the social issues. I'm concerned about a company that's more concerned about social issues than selling a product. What happens then is, no, the problem isn't overstated. It's that how many people actually care? Most don't. 61% of viewers reacted positively to the ad. So what percentage, actually, let's just pull up the survey. I don't know. If it's too complicated, then I'm not going to, go through it. But, so here we go. All right. They say, Americans more likely to say Gillette shares their values after watching the commercial. Gillette ad more divisive between parties than genders, which makes absolute sense. So where is their graph talking about that 61%? Let's look at this. Share of adults who agreed or disagreed that Gillette shared their values before and after watching their ad. Before watching, some people strongly agreed, some people somewhat agreed, most people didn't have an opinion. Then they saw a commercial saying, hey, bullying is bad, toxic masculinity, all that, and people said, hey, I agree with that. But that doesn't say a whole lot. We can see, however, the strongly disagree almost doubled from 5% to 9%. Not a very big margin. Somewhat disagree got much larger too. So this generated some bad for them. But ultimately, here's the thing. I don't think this poll actually matters. The point I was trying to make in the 61% number is what percentage were neutral and what percentage reacted negatively to that ad. And although they probably have the numbers in here, I don't want to go digging around because, okay, here's 61%. Okay, here we go. Overall, the ad was well received by those who watched it. They say, asked to rate how positively they felt about the ad on a scale of 0 to 10, 61% gave high marks, 23% were neutral, 17% gave the commercial low marks. Gillette customers were slightly more likely than the average consumer to have a positive reaction. Republicans overwhelmingly didn't like it. 17% had a negative response, 23% had a neutral response. So here's the thing about the positive response. I don't think anyone is going to buy your product because they reacted positively to an ad about whether or not, guys should or shouldn't bully. The negative response isn't overstated. You've just really, really pissed off those people, so they're very loud about it. When you look at the video on YouTube, you can see that it's got, I don't know what the numbers at this point, but for the most part, had way more dislikes than likes. What does that mean? The people who like what you did aren't vocal because they don't care that much. And the people who don't like what you did care a lot. They really, really pissed off a smaller group of people. And it's, so I think, obviously they'll take a look at the data and claim, hey, most people were, positive to this. But the people who react positively to this are just, they don't care. Like, who cares? I think the main issue for me is that I do think it's a fair criticism that they make all of these positive ads. They're like, women are strong, women are great, don't be racist. But then when it comes to men, instead of saying something like, this is why men are great too, and they use examples of stopping bullying, they made a whole video saying men need to change. It's about time for change. It's going on for too long. And it's like, dudes, it really annoyed me. It really, really did. They say, it divided the internet with some praising Gillette. Oh, wait, hold on. Pierce Morgan. I've used Gillette razors my entire adult life, but this absurd virtue signaling PC gruff may drive me away to a company less eager to fuel the current pathetic global assault on masculinity. More importantly, my issue with it is you're just being divisive. They're proud of what they did. Great. You've pissed off more people, and some people don't care. That's not okay. We don't want that to be the case. They say it divided the internet. This guy, Jose Andres, says, thanks, Gillette, for leading the way. As a man and father of 3 daughters, love your message. Men are here to be respectful citizens, fathers, husbands, etc., etc. Look, the point is, why couldn't Gillette? Why can't anybody make a commercial where you've got a dude landing on the moon, where you've got a dude, a man, pulling someone out of flaming wreckage, where you've got a guy, a cop, like, saving a child or something, and then in that, they also criticize toxic masculinity. The point is, you can make a positive ad praising the good things men do, and including that some of the good things they do are stopping bullies. No one would disagree with that. The point is, the ad was negative. It presented, the thesis of the video was that men engage in bad behavior and need it to stop. Sure, women do too. Everyone does. Let's celebrate good things. Why am I even talking about it again? Conversations on these profound social issues can be difficult for all sides, but we believe they are important and that, by sparking the discussion, we can play a part in creating meaningful and positive change. The ad has been watched more than 29 million times on Twitter and several million on YouTube as well. I'm going to say this. If you can generate tens of millions of views, but not move the needle in terms of selling your product, you've failed. You have failed. Plain and simple. They're going to say it was a success because they have to. They have to. And the marketing company, they probably had some deep conversations where, here's how I imagine it. The people who pitched this are going, listen, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. Look, you know, you're gonna get brand value from this. And Gillette's going like, oh my God, this is why everyone's pissed off. And then they don't actually get any sales. I'll tell you what, there's gonna be someone at Procter & Gamble saying, how much did we spend on this commercial? How many views did we get? And we didn't sell anything? What's the point? I'll tell you what though, if at Procter & Gamble is sitting there going like, well, we didn't sell anything, but at least we had a conversation, somebody's going to get fired or their stock isn't going to be particularly valuable in the long term. Because there's no reason to invest in a company whose primary objective is selling razors in an effort to affect social change. No. You invest in a company to buy toothpaste, toilet paper, and to shave your face. Stick around. I got another video coming up in a few minutes.